Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me today. What we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the basics of Google Drive just to get you comfortable and familiar with the setup of Google Drive, different ways that you can make documents and share them out, set permissions, and how to really organize yourself and your students just to make things easier for everyone involved. One of the things that I like most about Google Hangouts, I'm sorry, Google Drive, is that we really do get a very easy way of sharing documents with students, and it helps me stay really organized because I can access my files wherever I am. Okay, so if I have internet access on my phone, if I go over to library, an internet cafe, wherever, Starbucks, Houlihan's, they'll have internet access and I can access my files. So no longer am I lugging around book bags filled with papers and things that I would need to grade or things that I would need to keep track of. I just store everything in Google Drive and then I have access to it from everywhere. So I'm going to go through some of these tips with you today just to give you an idea of how to stay organized and also how to share out with your class. So what you can see here is a student's, this is a teacher's Google Drive that I set up. Okay, so I set up a fake account for SHS Teacher. And what I did was I created some folders right here. So you can see this is my drive. This is what it looks like. Everything is in the Google Chrome browser. So once I log into my Gmail account, which you can see here, I then go right over here to the apps icon and select Drive, and it opens up this tab. So this tab has 4 folders that I've already created, and I'll show you how to create the folders right now. So let's say I wanted to create a new folder. I'm going to go up to the word New, select that button, and select Folder. And it will ask me to give the folder a name. Now I see that I have a folder called Assignments, Letters and Forms, Park, PD. I know I need a Google Apps for Education folder. Okay, so that's going to be all of the things that are Google or Chromebook related, different tips and tricks. I'm going to keep them in there. So I'm going to select Create. And now you'll see I have another folder that comes in. It pops right in as in alphabetical order. What I like to do, though, it's a great way for me to stay organized, is I like to color code everything. So this is just something that I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to color code this. I'm going to make it red. So what I want to do is either right click if I have a 2 button mouse, or I hold down the control key on my Mac and click, and it will open up a separate menu. And from here, what I'd like to do is scroll down the menu to change color. Another little menu pops out with different squares on it. Select the color I want, and now I have an easy way to distinguish it. Because the eye can track colors more quickly than it is able to read words or phrases. So this is something that helps me just save some time. I'd like to do the same with assignments. And this one I'm going to make yellow. So again, I either control click or right click with a 2 button mouse. And I'm going to scroll down to change color and select yellow. And there it is. You'll also notice that in the assignments folder, I put a star next to it because this is going to be something that I'm going to use quite often. So I'm going to show you how to star it, and then I'm going to show you where all of the starred things will go. So I know that another place I am going to go to often is this folder right here, this Google Apps for Education folder. So I'm going to, again, either control click or right click and select Add Star. The great thing about that is that over here on the side, I'm going to close this up. See how we have My Drive. I can open it up and it shows me all of the folders that are also right here. Well, there are a couple of different areas that I'll show you, but for right now, I want to show you the starred. If I click on starred, see how it removes everything except for the ones that are the most important to me? So this is going to be really helpful with keeping you organized. Your go-to folders that you choose very often, I would put a star next to them so that you don't have to spend a lot of time looking for it. Another thing you can do if you are looking for a specific file or a folder, you can go up into the search area and just type in what you're looking for, select, and it'll automatically give you a list, but I'm going to choose select, and here's the folder that I was looking for. Okay, so that's another way you can search for keywords, partial words, or even a file type. So the next thing I want to show you is that, of course, everything that you create, anything that's original or anything that you add to your drive is going to be entered underneath My Drive. However, there are going to be things along the way that either your students or your colleagues are going to share with you. And in that case, you want to select Shared with Me. So you would click on Shared with Me, and then this is going to show you everything that has ever been shared with you, who shared it with you, and the date and time. So it's a really helpful tool because it gives you a lot of information. And it's very easy then to add it to your drive. And I would encourage everybody just to try to get into the habit as you're first using it so you don't get overwhelmed, that as things are shared with you, you add it to the right folder. So I'm going to look right here. This folder was shared with me, Park Resources. I know I want that to go into the Park folder I have over here. So it's as easy as just clicking on it. It's highlighted blue, and then I'm just going to come over on top of the Park folder, drop it in, and now it is part of that. You're still going to see it here in the Shared with Me, but now you can also see that I have this tag over here letting me know that it was added to the Park folder. This is something that was also shared with me, but let's say, for example, I don't want to keep the name Copy of Response to Literature Scoring Template. So all I have to do is either Control click or right click, and I can go down to Rename, and I'm just going to remove the Copy of and click OK, and now it's retitled in any way you want. So this is definitely going to be an assignment. So I'm going to pull that over to assignments. I'm going to also show you again just how to change the name here. Right click, choose rename, and I'm just going to rename this 81 Interesting Ways to Use Google Forms in the Classroom. And this definitely has to go into my red Google Apps for Education folder. So I'm going to put that right in there. And now that's listed over here. So I think you get the idea of ways that you can take documents, forms, sheets, whatever it may be that's shared with you from either students or colleagues, and add it into your own folders. So tips to start out using Google Drive, I would say start to create folders with a broad theme for what you're going to use them for. Maybe it's your English 10 course, maybe it's math grade 4. You know, it might be information about the school, and you can put all of that into a VDV or an SMS or an SHS folder. And we'll show you how to do that later too, straight from your emails, to keep everything nice and simple and neat and organized. It'll help you stay focused and not get quite so overwhelmed with all that hits us when we come back right in September. So the next thing I'd like to show you is how to create a new document or sheet. All you have to do is click on New, as we did before, to create the folder. But here you'll see that we have a lot of different options. Now, Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides are very similar to Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, tool to use to create online assessments, and also surveys to get feedback and things of that nature. But these three main ones, Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, are a great way to collaboratively share with your students so that they're able to work with one another on shared pieces. You're able to work with them on shared feedback and share feedback. And I will have additional PD offerings specifically for that later. This half hour is just dedicated right to Google Drive. So the next thing I'd like to show you is just how to create a Google Doc. So I selected Google Doc. The first thing I'll do is give my document a title, and we will call this Welcome Letter to Students. Okay, it's my welcome letter to students. I'm going to select OK. Now, this is something that I may want to write myself, or maybe I want to collaborate with one of my maybe the inclusion teacher that I work with, or you know, my grade partner. It can be any number of people. Or perhaps my letter is completely done and I want to share it out with my students. So I'm going to show you how to share, and then you can figure out how you want to share depending on what your subject is of your document. And the Excel version sheets, the PowerPoint version slides, and the Word version docs, they all share using the same format. So it's consistent throughout all of these different Google applications for education. So I'm going to click on share, and you can type people's names in here right now. So I can type all of my students' names. Right now I'm going to share this with another teacher. I'm going to share it with this other teacher account that I made specifically for training Vanderveer teachers. And I'll click on that. And I'm giving this teacher rights to edit because I want her feedback. She or he can make changes and edit here. You can also choose to just comment if you wanted somebody to be able to look at it and make comments but not actually change the text, or you can have it be view only. This is a way that you'd probably want to send home finished documentation from students if you don't want them to revise it again, but you want to share it with parents. You can leave it as just a view only. For right now, we're going to leave it as edit and choose send. And that will go right to that teacher so that they can share and collaborate with me. The same would go for your students. So let's say my partner and I have collaborated to 9th grade. Okay, and let's say this is all finished. I am then going to select share, and I'll share it with my students. Now I am going to put in a test student right now, but you would be able to put in your whole class. Okay, so I'm sharing this with SHS student, and I'll select send, and now it's out there and it's shared with that person as well. So I'm going to close this. And then I'm going to go back into my drive, and I want you to notice what happened here. Because I chose to just go to create new and I wasn't already in a folder, this new welcome letter to students is now down at the bottom of this list. And I don't want them to get all confused as I start to create more and more documents or files. So what I want to do is quickly take that and go right in, and I'm going to put that in my letters and forms. So now that's in here, and I don't need to worry about having to go back and fix that later. One other thing that I'd like to point out before we move any further is that there are different ways to view the information that's in your drive. So right now I have the information, the details turned on. So I can see both, I can toggle between details and activity. So if I click on assignments, it will give me details. It will tell me where it's located, who is the owner of the file, and when it was modified, opened, and created. So it gives you a lot of information about when that file was accessed, which helps me, when I'm like, I know I was working on a piece last Thursday, but I can't remember what I named it, then I can kind of go in and try to see when different folders were modified, or I can search from up here as I showed you earlier. Another thing you can do is you can add a description to the folder so that you have a little bit of extra information for yourself. That's not something that I've done, but because I usually try to title things in a way that's easy for me to recognize. But if you want to use the edit description, please do. Remember that all of these tools are integrated to make things simpler for you. So while I am showing you the different options that you have to view and to gain information, then you can kind of work through it as you get started with your students and see which pieces work best for you. So again, we're in the details tab. You see the details here, but you could also see the activity. So you can see when you have added an item or maybe when someone else has added to it. This piece is going to be very, very helpful when you start sharing information with your students. You'll know who's accessed the files and at what time they were working on them, which may be very helpful to you in different cases. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this, and you'll see that that square that was around it has disappeared and that file went away. I want to explain these icons to you as well. This get link will give you a link to the folder. So if you wanted to just quickly share out a link with your students or share out a link with your colleagues, you could do it this way. And you can just copy the link and paste it somewhere else. Another thing you can choose to do is to share. Now, I showed you how to share from within the assignment, but you can also share this folder the same way we did before by adding the name of a particular individual. I can share it with myself, and I will give myself editing rights and select send. So now that will be in my own personal folder. Right now, this is the SHS teacher generic folder for training purposes. The other thing I can do is if I want to clean this up, I don't want it anymore, I can, as long as this is highlighted blue, I can click on the trash can and it will remove that piece completely. Anything that happens to be highlighted can be completely removed. Or let's say I have all three of these highlighted, I could share it, and then all three of those pieces would go. So you just have to highlight first and then select one of the things on top. The next thing you'll see, you have that same option over here to move, remove the star, change the color, rename, view details, or you can even download if you choose. But this is another thing that I'd like to show you. Right now I have everything in list view. I personally like list view because it shows me who owned the name, who owns it, when it was modified, and sometimes it'll tell you how big the file size is. But you may choose a grid view. Maybe the grid view works better for you. Maybe you like icons. Find what works for you and then go that route. You can sort by A to Z, the last time it was modified, which brings me back to the scenario I gave you when I said that, you know, I know I did something on last Thursday, but I can't remember what I called it. Then you can search by last modified, and then that will just give you your most recent items at the top, and further back in time, it would be farther down the list. You can also choose last opened by me. Those are other options that you have. So that right now, those are the basics of just how to really organize folders, but you can also do something that you can get more creative and kind of bury your folders a little bit more deeply. So I'd like to show you that too. So what I'd like to do right now, I have an assignments tab, folder, but I really want one specifically for assessments. And I don't want to have a ton of folders here, so I think I want to put that folder inside my assignments folder. So there's two ways I could do it. I can go to new, choose a folder, and then once the folder is created, I can just drag it into that folder. Or I can select the assignments tab, I can choose new, select folder, name it assessments, and then drag it in. So it's completely up to you. This is important because in the shared folder, if something's already shared, if you move something into that shared folder, it's also that new piece is also going to be shared out with everyone else. So you want to make sure that you set your permissions correctly. So right now inside assignments, if I double click on that, I see assessments. I want to go back and add color to it. Scroll right click, scroll down, change color. And now it's right in there. There are a lot of different ways that you can organize yourself and share items with your students and help them stay organized. The best piece that I can possibly recommend is Google Classroom. I will be doing a Google Classroom PD session in, I think, next week. So please, and then it will be archived so you can see it whenever you want. But please make sure you check that out, because what that does is it's going to automatically create folders in here for you, so you don't even have to create them yourself for the assignments. And there's a million different things you can do with it. It's pretty amazing. And I'd love for everyone to check it out. So I'm not going to go too much more into folder creation or anything like that. What I would like to show you, though, is the ability you have to organize yourself right from your emails. And this is something that I find very, very helpful to me. I think we've all been in different areas where, at one moment in time, you are digging through a drawer or the bottom of a bag for a flash drive, or you ran out of space, or something of that nature. You don't have the work with you, or you can't pull up that piece of information from where you are. Now, with the way technology has progressed and the integration of Google Apps, you are really able to pull up your information from anywhere, and you can stay organized right from your email. So I want you to see this email that I have right here, the Chromebook contract that I sent to this teacher earlier. And what you'll notice is that this has an attachment. What I do immediately whenever I get something that's an attachment that I know I need, first, I'll click on it just to review it. They say, okay, this is something that I need. Where do I want to put it? I definitely want to put that in my Google Drive. So there's two ways to do it. We can either select this here after looking at it, or when we hover over the attachment itself, there is an option to save to Google Drive. So I can also click that icon. That's the Google Drive icon. And now look at what it does. It automatically gives me all of my folders that I've created and puts it into an area where I can easily organize it right from my email. I don't even have to go directly to the Drive tab. So I'm going to look here, letters and forms. That's good, but I think I want to make a new folder, and I want to call it VIL forms, or maybe SHS forms, because these are going to be forms that are from the district or from administration. And these letters and forms that I have here, those are going to be my personal letters and forms, mostly. The letters that I send home to parents or students. And then I'm just going to create this, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to move it into this when we get back to the Drive. So I'm going to click Create, goes right in here, choose Move, and now let me show you where it is. We're going to go back to our Google Drive tab. I am going to open up my Drive. Look what's here, VIL forms. Look what's inside, that Google Apps and Chromebook contract. Now I want to take this VIL forms, and I want to click on it, pull it up into here, hover right over it, or I could put it over here, drops right in. Now when I open it, I have the the Vil forms, and my welcome letter to students. If I wanted to be even more organized, I can go a step further and I can make a folder in here that says forms from Melissa McEntee forms, or personal forms, or Vil forms. So you're going to be able to decide what is the best organizational technique for you for each specific thing you're going to do with you and your students. But again, I urge you to definitely check out the Google Classroom PD session, because that's going to be really helpful too. So we have about 5 minutes left. Don't want to keep everyone from the pool or catching up on your DVR or whatever it was that you weren't able to do all year long, because I know everyone was so busy. And what we will do is I'm just going to go over the basic elements again, just to recap. So we have our Drive. Google Drive is where you're going to create folders and assignments and letters and anything through Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, and add them into these folders here. Create your folders. You go to New, create your folder, or create a Google Doc, create a sheet, or create a slide. Remember, this is like Word, this is like Excel, this is like PowerPoint. And if you go to more, Google Forms, we'll get into that during another PD session. Anything that is going to be shared with you, sent to you from a student or from a teacher, not through Google Classroom, is going to be shared with me. If you put photos in, you'll have photos in there. Anything recent is going to show up here. And anything you add a star to will show up in the starred area. And anything you throw into the trash will obviously be in the trash. If we go back to the Google Drive, remember, if you right-click on any of the assignments or any of those documents, you get the opportunity to share it, get a link, move it somewhere, or add the stars or the colors, or you can rename it. Notice too, right here, there's nothing, but as soon as I click on one of the folders, now I get 4 icons that open up: link, share, trash, and more. Okay, so link, share, trash, and more will not be visible if you do not have one of these folders or assignments selected. Okay, it's there, it's off. Another thing you're going to want to choose for yourself is the grid view better, or do you prefer the list view? It's completely up to you. Figure out what's most comfortable, and remember to toggle back and forth depending on what you're looking for. You can also sort. You have sort options, A to Z, last modified by me, or last opened by me. You have information, details, and activity on every folder and every file, who created it, who shared it, who worked on it, who can share it, who can edit it, and all of that information is over here. You just click on the information link. The settings link, we're really not going to get into much today, except if you do have the space, downloading the Drive is good, because then you're able to work on these documents offline if you don't have internet access all the time. So let's say if I knew I had work to do on a long car ride, I would download Google Drive onto my desktop before I leave my house, and then I can access all of my files even though I don't have internet access in the car. But that is for another session. We'll go into that another time. Other things that you should be aware of is, just as you start to create more and more documents, more and more files, it's going to get to the point where you're going to have a lot of things in your in your Drive. What you should do is get used to using the Drive so that you can start searching in the Drive search tool, so that you can start searching for things that are related to that keyword. And it'll help you find things later. But the best way to find things, honestly, is to make sure that you are creating folders, color them if you want to, give them a specific title, but not too specific. and try to add things directly to your drive from your emails, and directly to your drive from any other things that you download. It's a really, really helpful organizational tool. This is great for students. Having all of their information in one place, one location to access, is really going to help them out a lot. My time is up. I hope that I was able to share some tips and tricks with you that maybe you didn't know before, or maybe you did and it was just a little refresher. Thank you for joining me. I will be back tomorrow, and then almost every weekday thereafter. I sent out a schedule to everyone, so please check it out. And remember, even if you can't log in at the live time, it's no problem. You can just select the link whenever you have a chance, even if it's during the school year. Take a look at it and enter it into your documentation log for PD hours. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope everyone's having a great summer. Enjoy the rest of your day.